Hello, guys. Welcome to a new episode of Is It Good or Isn't It? Episode 3. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Now, the film stars Caroline Williams, Dennis Hopper, Bill Moseley. It also stars Bill Johnson, and it also stars a guy who played Rick the Prick, who is a former DJ, I think in California, I think it was, or somewhere. However, I'm also going to be talking about Lou Pearlman, also starring the late Lou Pearlman, and the late Dennis Hopper, and the late Jim Cedal. Now, Jim Cedal, if y'all don't know, Jim Cedal is the only person to reprise his role from their original film. They wanted to get the Gunnar Hansen back, but they didn't increase the fee that he wanted, and he ended up passing on the movie because he had to drop his agent, and then they took away the amount of money because he didn't have an agent. They're like, oh well, we took that away because you don't have an agent. Well, it was their loss, but yeah. Anyways, but is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 good enough to get the remarkable, or the recoverable, whatever you call it, 5-star rating? Let's find out and get into the movie, shall we? Starring Caroline Williams. Yep, Dennis Hopper, who acts like a crazy lunatic, even though he's a good guy in the movie. Yeah, he acts more fucking crazy than the Sawyer family. And the movie basically begins with the two guys in a car who call into Caroline Williams' radio station. She plays a woman by the name of Stretch. Hey. Coffee. So yeah, Stretch is the final girl of this movie. Now, on the other hand, is the movie good? Let's just keep finding out. So yeah, and the truck pulls up, and it's basically the corpse of Nebbins the hitchhiker, which his name was Nebbins. But from what I heard, Chop Top was supposed to be in the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, but they instead made it the hitchhiker. Originally, the hitchhiker was supposed to be in the second movie, but I don't know how they would have explained he would have lived, but he was supposed to have a metal plate like Chop Top. How the fuck can you live if you got run over by a fucking semi? That wouldn't have made no damn sense. I mean, there was a person who got ran over by a semi and lived. Yeah. And just to say, it's because it ran over his shoulder and his leg. He broke his leg and his shoulder. But the guy's lucky to live, because when it ran him over, it missed his whole area right here, and only ran over his leg and his shoulder. Broke his shoulder, broke his leg. He was in the intensive care unit for a while. Anyways, let's get back to the movie. But the coolest part I thought was on the bridge was when he saw that one guy's head right in half, and he was like, and the head was just like, blood going everywhere. So yeah. And then, after that, it gets investigated by the local police department, or whatever you call it. And then you end up meeting a guy by the name of Lefty. Lefty, on the other hand, is Sally and Franklin's uncle who Sally and Franklin were from the first movie. The guy in the wheelchair and Sally, who was the final girl of the original movie. So yeah, Lefty is their uncle. Now in this movie, Sally, I guess, is still in the mental facility. But anyways, let's just get back to this. Um, Leatherface in this movie is played by Bill Johnson, and some of the stunts were did by like the stunt on the bridge. That was did by the guy who played Michael Myers, I think, in the fourth movie, I think it was, who sadly passed away a couple years ago. Or he was played by the guy who played Michael Myers in the fifth movie. I don't know if it was the fifth or fourth movie. But yeah. On the other hand, is this movie. So yeah. And then, we end up meeting Lefty. Lefty ends up, going after the family. And Stretch ends up trying to give him a recording, but, and you also see Toby Hooper in a cameo. He's the guy, with the fucking I think Dr. Pepper in his hand. He fucking loved his Dr. Pepper. And it's kind of weird, both him and George A. Romero died the same year, and they both were heavy smokers. But yet, George A. Romero died of lung cancer, but Toby Hooper died of natural causes. That's kind of weird. But I did hear that Toby Hooper quit smoking like back in 2006 or 7, one of those years. And yeah, because his family basically made him quit smoking. And he loved his cigars. He did. But anyways, let's just get back to this. We go to the radio station again, to where but it's funny, if you in the movie when they're at the place to give out for the chili contest, not Nebbins, you moron. The hitchhiker ended up winning a thing for chili, and the woman is eating the chili, and she's like, "Oh," and she's like, and the cook grabs it, but he's known as Drayton in this movie. He's like, my secret recipe, peppers, because he doesn't want people to know that they're basically eating human meat. And so yeah, and he was like, "That's the secret recipe." And also, if you look in that scene, the guy who played the semi driver in the first movie, he's in that scene. Yeah, he's in that scene, and also he was the one that ended up saving Sally at the end, who threw a wrench in Leatherface's face and hit him in the face with a wrench. Yeah. Oh man. But anyways, and when what is his name? Drayton is on his way back to his secret place, to where he ends up getting a call from, I think, Chop Top. So yeah, and Chop Top ends up telling him about what is on the radio, and he was like, "You," "You idiots, you morons," or something to that effect. And he was like, "You're going to be the death of me." I love that guy. From people who met him, said he was like one of the sweetest men ever. My friend actually got a chance to meet him I think it was back in the 90s, when they did conventions too. Especially for, I think, the 20th anniversary of the original movie. And he got to meet him, and he said he was like one of the sweetest men ever. Oh yeah. So now, on the other hand, then you go back to the house. So you go back to the radio station, and Stretch is there with I I think his name is JD. I think is his name. I could be wrong, but I think his name is JD or JT or no, I think it's LG. I think his name is LG. Yeah, I believe it's LG. Yeah, his name is, I believe it's LG. If I'm wrong, I apologize. Of course, he's played by the late Lou Perryman, who was sadly had his life taken from him on April 1st of 2009. Rest in peace to him. Um, of course, he gets plunged, but he doesn't die right away. Um, so and then Leatherface goes after the woman. He ends up falling in love with the woman, and he ends up taking a chainsaw and like running it through the ice. Then he puts it towards her.
Guys, we're going out at 3.
And I'm recording. Kids.
Are you live?
No, I'm not live. I'm recording a video. As I was saying, really.
Sorry.
As I was saying, she's a pain in the ass, but I love her. As I was saying, oh yeah, and he fucking dry humps her with a fucking chainsaw. What the fuck? Yeah, so that happens, and then after that, you know. So yeah, really. So he ends up, yeah. And then after that, they go to take what's his name back to the base where they're staying at, and what's her name ends up falling through the ground right after Lefty comes in to try to rescue her. But then Lefty goes into the underground area and starts fucking cutting everything up with a fucking chainsaw. And then he meets Leatherface and fights him and stabs the chainsaw right through him. Let's also not forget that Lefty, not Lefty, but LG ends up giving her, freeing her, even though he didn't have a face anymore. She put the face back on him. So yeah. And the movie ends with Leatherface getting a chainsaw stuck through him by Lefty. A grenade gets dropped by what is his damn name? Drayton Sawyer, because he took it out of the hitchhiker's dead body's bag, and he ends up blowing up the area, and he ends up dying with everybody in there. So unfortunately, the good guy of the movie, he ends up dying. He gets he ends up getting blown up with the Sawyer family. So in this movie, the Sawyer family ends up all dying, and then the Sawyer family ends up dying, except for Chop Top, who ends up chasing the main character, the final girl, into the area. Then she takes the chainsaw from his grandmother, who I guess she was supposedly still alive because she closed her eyes. I was like, how the fuck can this old ass woman be alive and she looks like a fucking skeleton? And then she ends up, I guess, dying, and then so she started up the chainsaw and slit right into Chop Top's stomach. He falls off a cliff, goes into a tunnel thing, and it blows up. So he's dead. So yeah, that's the end of the movie. So is Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 still good enough to get a 5-star, the recompetent 5-star rating? Let's get into it. So we're treated to multiple good things, a good time. Funny is not as serious as the first one, but it does have gore in it, the thing where he cuts open the wall and a lot of entrails falls out of the wall. Yeah, but other than that, the movie is a good movie. So I'll give Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 I'll give it 4 stars out of 5. I'll give it 4 out of 5. I'll give it 2 thumbs up. Definitely a good, entertaining movie for you guys to watch and enjoy. It's funny, but all the stuff from the original movie is basically gone. But you can still enjoy it though. But I do give it 4 stars and 2 thumbs up. Join me next week. Well, I'll probably be in a new house by next week. But anyways, join me whenever I can for episode 4 of Is It Good or Isn't It? Because I'll be taking a look at my favorite Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel, Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. This has been my 3rd episode of Is It Good or Isn't It? And remember, don't listen to people, don't let them be an asshole to you, and don't let people get you down. Love you guys. And remember to like and subscribe.